Hi everyone, I'm Lady Teddy. I'm going to be reading out loud to you guys from a storybook app called Magium that's free and awesome, and I think that everyone should try it out because it's choose your own adventure, which means there's lots of different paths that you can find for yourself. The read through that I'm doing right now is a good, smart Barry. The main character's name is Barry. And I believe we are starting in the middle of we left off in the middle of chapter 8. So let me pull that up. I just got a new emulator, thanks to M for Pink Lizard, and it seems to work a lot better from what I've seen, but it's still new. I haven't tried streaming with it yet, so we'll see. Looks like you guys can see it. Wow, this is... Shadow, welcome in. Thank you for the first time chat. I'm surprised that's your first time chatting here. Welcome in. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. I'm going to be reading out loud to you guys from a storybook app called Magium. That's really cool. Yeah. Looks like you can see it. There's no glitching or anything. It's not like stuttering like it normally does. Yeah, I thought you'd talked in here before too. But welcome in. Thank you for the first time chat. I hope you enjoy this. Well, I mean, we've talked to each other in other people's streams before, so I've definitely done this with other streamers where I'm like, I feel like I talk to you all the time, but I guess we've just never talked to each other in one another's streams. Alrighty, here we go. What? Darren asks me. You didn't really believe those old legends about hydras growing two heads for everyone you cut, right? I fought hydras before, and none of them possess that kind of an ability. Still, the regeneration ability of this one is through the roof. Last time I saw one of these, I had more than enough time to cut off all the heads before they started regenerating, but there's no way that's going to work with this particular monster. There's only one way the only way we're killing it is we can find out where its heart is and stab it. Or if we use fire to prevent it from regenerating. Damnations, Kate says, if only I had my ice magic, I would have easily cut all those heads off simultaneously. Didn't that little girl have fire magic? Darren asks. He then starts to shout the girl's name while looking at the hole in the roof. Flower! Hey, Flower! There's no answer. You're wasting your breath, Hedrick says. There's no way she can hear you from all the way up there with the sound of all those traps. With the sound all of those traps are making. Yeah, you're probably right, Darren says as he readies his sword once more and takes a look towards the monster. The Hydra has taken a few steps back while Darren is talking, and it's been standing there for a while, hesitating to attack. It must be afraid that it'll get one of its heads cut off again. Okay. Were you taking a break? Well, we'll come back tomorrow. I'll make sure to stop by. Hearing check successful, level 4. I can hear someone's heart pounding very rapidly. Trying to locate the source of the sound, I realize that it isn't coming from one of us, but the Hydra. I start to block out all other sounds with my mind and focus solely on the loud beating of the monster's heart in order to pinpoint its exact location. It takes me a few seconds, but in the end I manage to trace the sound back to its origin, the tip of the Hydra's tail. So that's where it was hiding its weak point. Well, Hadrick says, if it's not going to come to us. He doesn't finish his sentence and rushes straight for the 9-headed creature. The monster attacks the dwarf with 4 of its heads, but he jumps out of their way and manages to place himself below the Hydra's body. Hadrick then flexes his muscles and starts lifting the Hydra off the ground, as he roars loudly and his face turns almost red from the effort. Before the Hydra has time to react, the dwarf then sends it crashing into the nearest wall. The creature is now staggering clumsily, trying to get back up. Use this opportunity to rush towards the Hydra and cut off its heart. Tell Darren about the Hydra's weak spot. Well, I could go for speed, but I don't really want to. So I'll just tell Darren. Hey Darren, I say. I just found out... Hey Darren, I say. I just found out where the Hydra is hiding its heart. It's not inside the body, it's at the tip of its tail. How can you be so sure? Darren asks me. I've maxed out my hearing stat. Trust me, it's there. I can still hear it beating from all the way here. Is that so? Well, I guess there's only way to be sure, Darren says as he rushes towards the Hydra while it's still trying to regain its balance. Even while staggering, the creature still hasn't let its guard down. As Darren approaches it, 2 of the heads lunge at him, but he sidesteps from one of them and slices through the other, seizing the opportunity he created to immediately make his way towards the tip of the monster's tail. Just as he's about to grab the heart, the Hydra moves its tail away and lifts it high into the air so that Darren can no longer reach it. The creature is not stupid. It understood Darren's intention. And is also well aware of its own weak point. Running away from me, eh? Darren says. Well, if you're not going to let me stab your heart, then I'll just have to settle for the next best thing. He then jumps into the air and aims his sword to the very base of the monster's tail. He manages to cut it clean off in a single strike, and all of the Hydra's heads start screaming in agony at the same time. In a matter of seconds, all of the heads fall silent, and the Hydra comes crashing down on the floor as the life leaves its eyes for good. What a dumb place to keep your heart at. Irish Pooh Hair, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. Good to see you. Well, sleep well. I do this so people can fall asleep, so maybe it'll help. Thank you for lurking. What a dumb place to keep your heart at, Darren says. How the hell did Hydras not become extinct by now? They haven't become extinct because people like you keep assuming their hearts are inside their bodies and ignore the tail completely. Kate answers him. Didn't you say you fought Hydras before, and yet you had no idea about this weak point? I'd say that this natural diversionary tactic of theirs has been working out pretty well for them so far. Darren furrows his eyebrows, but he does not give Kate a reply. Suddenly, we hear Flower's voice from above as she is now descending towards us using 2 small jets of fire coming out of her feet to slow down her fall. Oh, gods! I didn't know that there was a Hydra down here, she says. I would have come down. I would have come down. I would have come sooner, but those traps upstairs just kept going and going. She then lands and looks at the monster surprised, trying to see if it's really dead or just sleeping. Yeah, I remember you too. It was a good conversation. Sweet dreams. Wow, I can't believe you guys actually took down a Hydra by yourselves without any magic, she says. Is anybody hurt? Petal knows a bit of healing magic, so we should be able to help if it's nothing too serious. Actually, I could use some healing about now, Hedrick says. This wound on my leg in particular is killing me. We're on it, the girl says as she approaches the dwarf and puts her hand on his wound. Petal? She asks and pauses for a few moments. The girl's eyes then start shining a bright blue light as her expression becomes a lot colder, and a warm light starts coming out of her hands, slowly healing Hadrick's wound. So, Hadrick says while grinning, you must be the banshee inhabiting the girl's body. Petal, is it? The girl looks the dwarf in the eye without changing her cold expression, but she doesn't say anything. She then shifts her gaze back to his wound and continues to heal it diligently. Not really the talkative sort, are you? Hadrick says, still grinning. Or Hadrick asks, still grinning. As the wound heals completely, the girl's eyes turn back to their normal green color and her warm expression returns as well. Oh, she's usually not this silent, Flower says. I think she's just shy around strangers. Well, I think this farce has gone on long enough, Hadrick says, or Darren says as he starts approaching Flower. I really am sorry that I have to ruin this beautiful friendship, but I'm afraid the Banshee has to go. Actually, I don't think that will be possible, I tell him. Oh yeah? Darren says, and why is that? Please enlighten us, oh, great Banshee expert. Because the Banshee is already awakened. In fact, I think she's been in this state for a very long time. Impossible! Everyone knows that an awakened Banshee is supposed to look like a genuine monster. Almost nothing should remain of their human's host appearance. Yeah, I've seen a Banshee awaken before, remember? That doesn't, however, change the fact that this Banshee has already awakened in spite of all that, since she is clearly no longer in a dormant state. Why don't you try your purification technique on her if you don't believe me? Darren says. I was going to do that anyway. What are you doing? Flower asks Darren as he approaches her and starts moving his sword in the air around her. Flower, it's alright, I tell her. His technique won't work on you or Petal, I guarantee it. Okay? Flower says, with a slight tremor in her voice. Darren waves his sword in the air for about 15 seconds, trying to get it to light up so he can commence the purification ritual. It's not working, Darren says after having finally given up. Of course it isn't, I tell him. The purification technique can only be used before a Banshee is fully awakened, or if the Banshee never existed in the first place. An awakened Banshee's aura is just too erratic to be able to get a good lock on. So the technique will simply fail to activate. The only way you can kill a Banshee now is if you also kill the girl along with her. Is that what you want? No, that's not... I don't... Listen to me, the girl shouts at us. Petal is here to stay, whether you like it or not. You don't have to talk to her if you don't want to. And I'm here too. And even if I'm not the best guide there is, I'm the only guide you have. I promised that I'd take you all to the room full of buttons, and I don't intend to fall back on that promise. Are you still willing to follow my lead? Sure, it's not like we have a better alternative at this point, or please tell me that you at least have a vague idea of where we're headed. I'll go with the latter. Please tell me that you at least have a vague idea of where we are headed. Of course, Flower says. The first thing we need to do is get back to the corridor we came from. There's an elevator not far from here that can take us back to the upper level. If it will lead us right at the end of the corridor, so we won't have to worry about any more traps. That actually sounds like a pretty good plan, Hedrick says. I agree, Kate says. We can't afford to waste time bumbling around with the spirit fox breathing down our necks. I say we follow the girl's lead for now. Rose says, still not having fully recovered her voice after the Hydra incident. I think we should follow Flower as well. All right then, the girl says, as her face lights up. You're not going to regret this. Come on, follow me. I know exactly where we're going. She then takes the lead and starts marching like a soldier in front of us while repeatedly saying, Hut, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm starting to regret this already, Darren says, as we all start following in the girl's footsteps and leave the Hydra room behind. After a few minutes of walking, we finally reach the elevator that Flower spoke of. It is entirely made of stone, but there are several levers inside of it, which I assume are used to operate it. Okay, this is the elevator I told you about, the girl says as we all enter it. Now, if only I could remember which of these levers I need to pull. She starts looking at each lever in turn with her eyebrows furrowed. Oh, I can't remember which one's the right one, the girl exclaims after 10 seconds of continuous staring. There's a mumbling sound coming from the amulet that Flower is wearing around her neck. What is it, Araka? The girl asks as she opens the amulet. I can't remember what voice I wanted to give Araka. She is such a cool... I don't think I could do a special voice for her. I don't remember what I tried last time. Hey, Flower, the voice in the amulet says. I remember which of the levers you need to pull in order to get to the upper level. It's the second one from the right. You're not lying to me again, are you? Flower asks, looking at the amulet suspiciously. Oh, no. It's the truth. I swear on my own mother. Well, okay then, the girl says as she pulls the lever. Suddenly, the elevator starts moving, but somewhat unsurprisingly, the direction we are heading in is down instead of up. You swore, Flower says furiously. You swore on your own mother. I don't I just did something. She has such a cool voice. She has 3 voices, which obviously I can't mimic. Or maybe I should just change her voice. I don't have a mother, you know. I don't have a mother, you twit, Eureka tells her as she starts laughing hysterically. As we descend towards the lower levels of the ruins, there are several low continuous growls audible somewhere below us. I've had just about enough of this, the girl says as her eyes turn blue again and she starts fiddling with the levers until the elevator stops in its tracks and heads back up. It's actually a spirit in the amulet that the little girl wears around her neck. And yeah, she's sus. She's awesome. But don't trust her as far as you can throw her. But she is one of my favorite characters. You just had to ruin the fun like you always do, didn't you, Aluna? The voice from the amulet says as the girl's eyes turns green again. Wait, who's Aluna? I asked the girl. Is that the Banshee's real name? Never mind that, Hedrick says. What I want to know is who the spirit in the amulet is. Who? Me? Eureka says, Why, I'm the spirit of joy and laughter. This evil little girl is keeping me trapped in here and won't let me do my job of spreading happiness throughout the world. Will you not save me from this villain? Spirit of joy and laughter, eh? Hadrick says with his usual grin. So, I'm guessing that the sinister aura all around you must be because of the amulet the girl is keeping you in, then. Oh, no, I just forgot to change it. The sinister aura around her now disappears completely and is replaced by one of joy and kindness. See? Now I'm the spirit of joy and laughter, Uraka says, having changed her voice to resemble that of a sweet little girl. If you don't believe me, you can just ask all of the people who've had the honor of meeting me. I always leave them with a smile on their face. Of course, it would be a little hard to get them to talk to you since they're all dead, and now that I come to think of it, the expression I usually leave them with is somewhat less of a smile and more of a look of sheer terror, but I'm pretty sure that I've carved a few smiles into the necks of at least some of them, so it should still count, right? Ha 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 ha. Flower interrupts Eureka's speech by closing the amulet, and then she holds onto it for a few seconds, clenching her fist around it angrily. So, I start to ask her as the elevator finally reaches the corridor with all the traps. Is that another Banshee then? Yes. Flower says, a very evil and powerful one. She was trapped in this amulet 20 years ago by the Lasathi, and we've been acting as her jailers ever since. Why? Did the Lasathi ask you to? Or... Wait, did you just say 20 years ago? How old are you exactly? I'll go with... Well, is there anyone in the chat that's paying attention enough to help pick one of these? I'm leaning towards this one. Okay. Why did the Lasathi ask you to? What? The girl asks, shocked. Oops. What? The girl asks, shocked. No! Who would work for those mean jerks? We keep her with us because we want to. Now, come on, the room with the buttons shouldn't be much further. But, isn't Uraka a bit more trouble than she's worth? I ask Flower as we start walking down the corridor. Wouldn't it be better... Sorry, I should have waited longer. I'm not used to people being awake while I do this. But, I ask, wouldn't it be better to just leave her somewhere and be done with her? Oh, she isn't as bad as all that. She's actually helped us many times along the years, and she's even saved our lives on several occasions. Besides, she takes Petal a lot more seriously than she takes me, and that's... Oh my gods! What? Kate asks her. What happened? I remember those 3 corridors, she said as she points in front of her. One of them leads to the control room, while the other 2 lead to the deadly traps. I know for certain that the correct corridor had some sort of an inset marked on one of its walls. We're practically already there, come on! An insect? Kate asks, as Flower rushes ahead of us to have a better look at the walls of the 3 corridors. No! The girl yells as we reach the place where the path splits into 3 directions. Looking at the markings on the 3 walls, I start to understand the source of the girl's frustration. She was not mistaken when she remembered that the corridor had an insect marked on it. What she failed to remember, however, was that there were 2 was that the other 2 corridors had insect marked on them as well. Wait a minute, Kate says. Didn't that note from the leopard say something about 3 corridors with insects marked on them? I see a dragonfly, a beetle, and a wasp. The leopard told us that the path with the beetle is the correct one. Leopard? Flower asks us. You mean Leo the leopard? Yes, Kate answers her. Do you know him? Yeah, I know him, but I don't understand why he'd help you. He really hates humans. You think it might be a trap then? Kate asks. I don't know, the girl says. Oh, if only I could remember which way is the right one. Alright, so I'll save here. So if we die, it's okay. Would you guys like, the conscious ones like to pick a path? And I could pick all of them as well. Dragonfly it is. To me, it sounds like the leopard is trying to lure us into a trap, I say. At least that only leaves us with 2 corridors to choose from. I say we just go down the dragonfly corridor, and if we trigger any traps, we'll get out of there as soon as possible. I'll be honest here, Darren says. I don't think we have enough information to arrive at any conclusion, so if it's going to be a guessing game either way, I'd rather go with Barry's instincts, because if he's wrong, I can blame him afterwards. Once everyone's agreed to have me carry the blame for our potential failure, we all start walking down the corridor marked with the dragonfly. Before we even take 5 steps inside the corridor, we hear a loud noise behind us as our way gets sealed shut by a newly erected stone wall. Immediately afterwards, the ceiling starts descending towards us little by little. Oh no, Flower says. Now I finally remember. Leo was right. We really should have taken the path with the beetle on it. Well, it's not like it's the end of the world or anything, Hadrick says. The ceiling is barely even moving. I'll just smash this wall blocking the exit and we'll all go back to the right path. No! Flower shouts. If you smash that wall, there's going to be a dozen poison arrows coming out of it. Hadrick says. I'm pretty sure that the beetle corridor was the middle one. That means that if I smash the wall to our left, we can just enter the beetle corridor directly, without having to go back. He pauses. That is to say, if, everyone else is okay with this? There are no traps inside the walls between the 2 corridors as far as I know, Flower says. It's okay, Hadrick, Kate says. Feel free to smash the wall to your heart's content. Roger, Hadrick says with a grin as he punches the wall with all of his might. We then make our way through the hole in the wall and we enter the beetle corridor just as planned. After a few minutes of walking through the corridor, we finally start to see some light at the end of the tunnel. This is it, Flower says, excited as she points towards the exit. I remember this part. Once we're past that door, nothing will stand between us and the control room. I told you we'd make it there safely. Come on, follow me. Last time I tried that I died. I guess I took the other one. Flower rushes out of the tunnel, but her momentum fades immediately after she enters the control room and she stops right in front of the corridor's exit. As I reach the end of the corridor, it takes a few moments for my eyes to adjust to the really bright light in this room. Congratulations! Congratulations, I hear a familiar voice say to us while my vision is still a little blurry. You've made it to the control room. Now you can all die in peace knowing that you've achieved your goal. I suddenly realize that the light was where all the light was coming from. The spirit box is standing right before us, and her insanely strong magical aura is shining. Sweet dreams, Irish Pooh here. Thank you for stopping by. And if you like this story, it's free and it's on both Android and iPhone, so you can just play it yourself and then you could talk to me about it. If you want. Where was I? And her insanely strong magical aura is shining so brightly that it's hard to even look at her. Leo the leopard is also at her side, but the bull appears to be missing this time around. The room is filled with levers and buttons of all shapes and sizes, just like Flower said, and there are strange writings on all of the walls. Once I learned that you escaped from the dungeon, the fox says, I knew that there was only one place you could be heading, so instead of chasing you down, I decided to simply wait for you here. Suddenly a golden cage pops out of nowhere and surrounds every one of us except Flower. It seems that my benevolence was wasted on the likes of you, the fox says. I'm going to execute you here and now and be done with this once and for all. The magical power coming from her is like nothing I've ever witnessed before. I haven't even felt this much pressure when I was in the presence of Azarius. The hopelessness I'm feeling right now can only be compared to the feeling I got when we first met Eden. Are we all just going to die like this without even getting a chance to offer the slightest amount of resistance? Alea, wait, the girl says, as she puts herself between us and the spirit fox. You can't hurt them. They're not bad people. Do not stand in my way, Flower, the fox says. These people broke our sacred rules and they must be punished. Yeah, but can't you, give them a slap on the wrist or something? I'm not going to have you question our methods or our punishments, little girl. You may have helped us in the past, but if you insist on defending these criminals, I will not hesitate to execute you along with them. Ooh, you were always so stubborn, the girl says as her eyes turn a bright red and her magical aura starts to radiate strongly from her body. Fine. If you want to fight, I'll give you your fight. Get ready, Petal. Please, stop, the leopard says in the common language, and Flower's eyes slowly go back to their normal green color. What is the meaning of this, Leo? The fox asks him. I only gave you permission to use the common language in case of an extreme emergency. I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, O great magical fox, but I consider this to be an emergency of the utmost importance. Explain yourself. I would like to invoke the 6th golden rule and take personal custody of these prisoners. To what end? I believe that they would be of a much better use to us alive rather than dead. We cannot afford to send any more of our troops to the ogre's stronghold. At this rate, the sacred chalice will be lost forever. But these warriors have proven their combat prowess when they defeated our Hydra pet from the subterranean level. We could send them to retrieve the chalice in exchange for their freedom. I see, the fox says. So this is why you insisted on accompanying me to the control room when we learned that the prisoners had escaped. You surprise me, Leo. Out of all the animals in our kingdom, you are by far the one who hates humans the most. I never thought I'd see the day where you would suggest using any of them to further our cause. She pauses a bit to ponder on his words. Very well, then, the fox says. In full accordance with the 6th golden rule, I hereby grant you full custody of these 5 prisoners. Alea then turns to us. You are lucky to have been spared in such a way, humans, she says. I suggest you make the most of this opportunity. Ask her about the ogre stronghold, ask her about the sacred chalice. Anyone have a preference? I'm leaning towards this one. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one then. Could you tell us more about the sacred chalice that we are meant to retrieve? The sacred chalice is an artifact that can give water unique healing properties, Alea says. We use this water to cure certain diseases that are specific to animals and are incurable through the use of spells. These diseases have claimed many lives of my subjects since the ogres stole our chalice and hid it in their stronghold. Will we get our collars temporarily deactivated once we get to the ogre stronghold? Kate asks. I've seen collars like these before, and I know for a fact that they could be activated and deactivated at will, without having to remove them. I'm afraid that the collars we use are a more primitive version of the ones you know of, the fox says. Their effects will not go away unless we remove them completely, and I'm not going to have them removed until you have retrieved the golden chalice. I will give you a time limit of 5 days to complete your quest. This should give you more than enough time to get the task done. If you are not back within 5 days, I will assume that you have abandoned your quest, and I will use these collars to have you killed by electrocution. 5 days? Hadrick asks. What if we get lost on our way there? You won't, the fox says, because I'm sending you with a guide to show you the way. She then turns to Flower. Flower, since you were so eager to protect these humans with your life, I am assigning this task to you. I don't really think they'd still want me as their guide after what happened in these ruins. Couldn't you maybe send Leo or... No, I'm sending you. Consider this your punishment for confronting me earlier. Of course, I am not forcing you to go. If you do not want to take on this task, I will simply execute them right now and spare you the trouble. No, Flower asks. No, don't do that. Okay, I get it. I'll go with them to the ogre stronghold. Very well then, the fox says as she turns to leave. Leo, I leave you in charge of giving them their mission briefing. I have some other business to attend to. So, Flower says to us as the fox leaves the room, I guess we'll be traveling together for a little longer? She then starts laughing nervously and unnaturally again. Oh boy. Even without using my premonition stat, there's one thing that I'm definitely sure of. This is going to be one hell of a trip. Yeah, I'll see. I'll end it here. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining. I hope everyone enjoyed that. This was a very much enjoyable stream for me. And I reached 150 followers, so that's exciting. Anyways, I hope that you are all having a really wonderful day or night or whatever it is, wherever you are. If there's... I don't know where I was going with that sentence. I'm very tired right now. I'm going to sleep now. Have a good night. Thank you everyone who's hung out and joined. Bye.